This video is made for adult collectors because Carnage eats people. I don't have very many Marvel Legends. I own a few Toy Biz and Hasbro ones. Got me 2 incomplete Build-A-Figures. Man, I need to complete that Onslaught bath. But in Canada anyways, I can't justify the price of them given I can get a deluxe class Transformer that's essentially 3 toys for the same price. I personally feel more value out of the Transformer than the Legends. Though that being said, I know there are plenty of people who think the other way around, and that is totally cool. I also love Carnage, so like I had to have this. This figure is a beast, easily the best Marvel Legends I've ever handled. The paintwork on it is pretty incredible, the way they do all the black veins and the sculpting. It works so well, and boy, that sculpting, there's so much going on here. First off, it's a bit of a candy red almost, not quite, but almost, but it works super well. I wasn't a fan of like the orangey red he was in some parts of the film, so I'm glad they went with this color, and the paint's pretty clean. The black hits pretty much every spot on this guy that I'd want to, and it works well, though the back is completely barren. There's no paint there. The little tendrils on his arms and legs are good, and they're very soft plastic, so you don't have to worry about them breaking. The warping, just, you know, don't sit him down. And pinless joints for the win. He has 2 head sculpts, one closed and one open mouth. The closed mouth looks epic. I love the way his eyes look and how pointy his chin is, and the paintwork on the black lines and the teeth is super clean. The open mouth has the tongue coming out, which they sculpted all the textures on that, and it looks great. He also has like a squinting expression, and his teeth are sculpted in very well. They even go behind his little like fleshy bits of his mouth, though the paint on the teeth is a tiny bit messy in some parts, at least on my copy. He comes with a couple sets of hands, these really nice open ones, which have some very nice detailing and expression to them. And then he has this hand that's about the same, but with a blade coming out of the back. But my favorite is this massive sword arm. This thing is wicked and very nicely painted. I love it. Mine is slightly warped though, out of the box, ever so slightly. I'm gonna have to fix that. And this dude ain't small either. Like, look at the size of this idiot. That's leader class Brawl next to this dude, going toe to toe. So Carnage can pull off a bunch of cool things, but there's like 2 problems that I have with it that kind of limit his posing, and it's not the tendrils. The tendrils are heavy. I'm using them to balance him at the moment because he has like, you know, regular human style feet. So he's... Iron Man fell over. So he's not going to be able to balance himself properly like something like this because they're able to stylize how the feet have like massive heels. You can't really do that on Carnage because this is the Woody Harrelson version and he looks like this. So yeah, I get it. Also, using this piece as a balance, I feel like I'm going to bend the tip sometimes. So I'm probably going to just put him in a pose that he can stand and then leave him in there forever. But the tendrils, they are all on bendy wires. They're a little springy. The bendy wires, like you're like, oh, I'm gonna put it here, and then it starts moving back into, it's very slowly moving back into place. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I think the jacket around them is a little too thick and causes them to like, they can't go as forward as I would like because of how thick the jacket is, but they're still pretty like, they can go wherever they want. They can swivel at this section that attaches them here. You can also remove them, and then put them wherever you want. So that's cool, and you get that one with those bits on it. You get this one with those bits on it, and then you get this one with that bit on it. And these bendy wires, by the way, here's a leader class toy again. They're pretty big. They're very big. Here's a 6-inch Legends figure. They're quite big. Get out of here, Megatron. Take these. Eat them. I don't know. So Carnage himself, zoom in here. The head is on a double ball joint, so you can pretty much get it wherever you want. You can tilt that far both sides. He can look up that far. He can look down very far. And both heads have the same articulation because they just attach via the ball joint. Shoulders, they're on universal joints. They can do a full 360. They can go in and out. You have bicep rotation. You have a double jointed elbow. You have wrist swivel, wrists hinge forward and back. This one... Now, when I got this for the first time and I tried to take this hand off, it was so stuck in there that when I finally like heated it up a bit and took it out, there was a big stress mark. I don't know how well you can see that, but there is a stress mark. There it is, right there, right at the bottom of the joint. So that's fun. I gotta just be careful with that. This wrist is fine, it doesn't have it. Now, he does have 2 sets of ab joints. You have a diaphragm joint, so he can, like, you know, dance like this if he wants to. And then you have an ab crunch, so he can crunch that far forward and that far back, which is a really good range. I like that. They've even like sculpted in a belly button, which I think is funny. But yeah, you can pretty much put him wherever you want to with the torso, so that's great. The hips. This is my first part of like This is my first part. There we go. To turn off my Canadian accent. I don't have a Canadian accent. I just sound like this. I've thrown myself off now. That's fun. The first part of the articulation that I'm not a huge fan of is the hips. They go forward that far. They don't go back. That's about as far as they go. And then they go out that far. I really wish he had dropped down hips so I could get his legs up a little bit further. Because being a Spider-Man villain, I'd kind of want him to get into some like Spider-Man-y poses, because that's what he's based off of, he's based off of a symbiote that was attached to Spider-Man. So it would be cool if he could do some Spider-Man-y things. You do have a thigh rotation that does break up the sculpt. I know that's going to bug some people. I'm personally not bothered by it. You got to have that thigh cut in there somehow, so, you know. Double jointed knees, so that's fine. And then the ankles can go down, and then they can pivot. But they cannot go forward. That is as far forward as the ankles go. And I really wish they could go a little bit more up. Because, like, here's an example of that. Bloop. Obviously, they wouldn't be able to go that far, because this is very clearly designed to look like a robot, obviously. But I wish they could go forward, like, about that much, so that he could maybe get into some more, like, walking poses or something like that to look intimidating. That would be kind of cool, but he can't do that. Those are my only two problems that I have, are the hips and the ankles. I wish they had a bit more range. Otherwise, I think this is very, very well, like, articulated. Obviously, it's better than this, but it is very well articulated. It feels nice. Nothing feels like it's going to break. Even that stressed hinge doesn't really feel like it's going to break, so that's good. Also, one comparison I wanted to make, because the way this is painted reminds me of this. It just kind of reminds me of that. So yeah, I don't know if this can be topped for me. I'm definitely going to be getting the Venom that they announced whenever that goes up for pre-order, but this thing is superb. It looks good, poses pretty good, feels great, it's pinless, it has 5 bendy wires, really cool extra hands, so much detail, the sculpting, the paintwork. I was going to save for the Hot Toys one till they announced this, and honestly, the price, this for a casual fan, this pretty much meets that price for me. Like, I don't feel like, oh, I could have spent that $45 on a Voyager or something. No, I feel like I got my money's worth. This thing is awesome. But that's my look at the Marvel Legends Carnage. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.